In this demonstration, I'm going to show you how to create a simple digital timer. So let's jump over to CreateStudio. Here's my original timer, and if you run it, this is what it looks like. So it counts 1 second at a time. Once the second counter is expended, then it increments the 10th counter and it goes up to 20 seconds. Now the way that I originally implemented this, let's take a look. I put the seconds into a group, and if I open it up, you can see this is the way that I implemented it. I have the 1 displaying. Oh, you can't see it because it's white on white. Let's go to the background and turn that black so we can actually see this. There we go. So I display the 1 for 1 second, and then I display a 2 in the same position for 1 second, and I go to the 3, the 4, the 5, and I bundle that all into a layer group. Now since this time, I found an easier way to do this actually using the built-in counter mechanism. It saves me a lot of time for not having to display every second counter. So let's go over and I'll show you how I do this. How I do this now, at least. So we're going to create a new project, and we're going to call it Digital Counter, and we'll make it 1080, and I want to make it a white background. Now within here, we're going to insert our rectangle with rounded corners, and we're going to make that black. And that's what our numbers are going to be on. Now let's add some text. The first number that I'm going to add is going to be the, what would it be, the minute counter. And I'm going to put the colon in here too. That separates the minute counter from the 10-second counter. And then let's take this whole thing and scale it up to 300. There we go. Now I can move this out of the way. And what I want to do is I want to insert text again. And I'm going to call this, I'm going to give it a name so that it shows up on my timeline as a name. So we're going to call this, whoops, ones with an S. And we'll scale this up to 300. And this, what we're going to do is come in. Now, first of all, our shape in the background, we're going to go 20 seconds. That's as long as I can create a counter for you here. So we'll have the shape in the background for 20 seconds. The 0 colon is never going to change in 20 seconds. We're not going to make it to a minute, so that'll be the same. And then this is going to count for 10 seconds. Now what we do is we go to this layer, open it up, and we go to Text Effects, and I want to do number counter. And we're going to go from 0 to 9. There we go. Now I'm going to pick this number and I'm going to move it over just a little bit. Notice how it's not displaying the text that we entered. It's displaying the number counter. And the text that we entered is actually displaying as the layer name over here on the left. So now if I play this, oh, this is actually the seconds counter, so it's got to be over here. Well, actually, let's take this and we'll duplicate it. Then this one will move over here. And I'd like seconds to be below the tenths of seconds. So here's the tenths of seconds. Let's go to that. And we'll configure its counter in Text Effects to go from, let me see, we're going to go from 0 to 1. And we will take that. And I want this to go out the full 20 seconds. And we'll take the number counter all the way out there. Then I take my seconds, I duplicate it, and we're going to want to do this again. So we just move it out here so it happens a second time. So now, what have we got here? We've got a black background. On top of it, we've got 0, and then we've got the seconds counter that's going to count from 1 to 10, or 0 to 9, and then it's going to go back to 0 and count to 9 again. And above that, we've got, we should rename this. I'll double click on it and I'll rename it tens. The tens counter is going to go from 0 to 1 during that period of time. Now let's see how this works. My counter is only so far, so what we want it to do is be out to there. There we go, that'll correct it. Now we got to do the same thing with this second ones counter. The counter has to be the full 10, so let's collapse everything and let's try playing that. And there we go. And that's our counter. Now the last thing I noticed that we might want to do here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to this one, center it up and down. There we go. Come to this one, center it up and down. And this one seems to be off by a bit. Yeah, there we go. It went up just a tick. And let's go to this one. And we'll center that up and down just a tick. There we go. And that's it. Creating your counter is as simple as that. So you just keep using the number counter to increment the range that you want, and you set the span for how often it ticks. So it's going to tick evenly over that period of time. If I have a count from 0 to 9 and I space that over 10 seconds, it's going to give me 1 second per number. So that's creating a simple time counter. In the next demonstration, I'm going to show you how to have a balloon fly completely around a character. And the significance of this is that it's going to be in front of the character and behind the character. I'll see you there.